What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com.
Crystal Sykes, KetoBrick.com.
And we want to talk a little bit about what our main takeaways from the Low Carb Cruise were. We just got back from Low Carb Cruise. We were gone for 8 days. It was an 8-day cruise. We were gone for like 10 or 11 days total. We went to 2 ports in Florida, Port Canaveral, Miami, Nassau, and then Coco Cay or Coco Key, however you want to pronounce it. We are back now. It's good to be back. Crystal, did you have fun?
Yes, I did.
Yes, she did. One major takeaway is that the internet was absolutely terrible. I've heard mixed reviews. Sometimes the internet's great on cruise ships, sometimes it's terrible. It was terrible this time. As a result, I was not able to really upload any videos and vlogs of the trip, which I hated because last year when we went on the cruise, I was able to do a vlog every single day. Go check those out if you haven't already. But I couldn't do that this time, so I didn't really even record that much footage, so there's not a whole lot of content I can bring to you on that end of the spectrum.
Flipping that around, it was nice to get all the people who are generally on social media to actually be there in person with you, because there was no internet. So as bad as it may have been for every single influencer that was on that boat, I think it was a good thing. I think it was meant to be. And if everyone would just turn off their phones every once in a while, you could really connect.
Yes.
And we did. What?
There's a positive to it for sure.
There is.
But I do apologize for not getting out more videos. So let's talk about our takeaways. These are less so things that we learned and more so things that we observed. One of the main conversation topics was bio-individuality. Correct, Mundo?
Yeah, I feel like everyone talked a lot about just finding your own keto or low carb or whatever. I feel like that was like the general discussion. Like before, it was kind of like everyone was trying to find like, it's supposed to be these ratios and it's supposed to be this and it's supposed to be that. And now it's like, no, it's not supposed to be anything specific, but finding your own keto, your own body's way of accepting the food that you're eating. And I feel like that was a lot of the discussion this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's good to see that because I'm definitely a fan of that approach, like treating yourself as an individual, because you are. I like to encourage people, though, to realize that there is a dichotomy that exists between having, bio-individuality and us all being our own unique snowflake versus, there are some common practices that would be applicable to 90% of the population. So the truth is somewhere there in the middle. Don't feel like you always have to bounce around to the next new thing, because that's one thing that we've definitely observed lately. There's a whole bunch of new things going on in the keto space. Everybody's doing something new and it's supposed to be like the next hot thing. So recognize too that a lot of the benefit of keto comes with the longer you're adapted to keto. So you have to kind of stick with something for a substantial amount of time before you're truly tapping into the full benefits. Were there any particular specific points with regard to bio-individuality that stood out to you?
No, not really. Just, I feel like we've known them. We have known that, but not everyone there was aware that they could find their own way of doing low carb or keto or whatever. There's people who do, carnivore. There's people who prefer to eat a lot more vegetables. There's just like a big variety of ways that you can take it. And I feel like just finding out what's going to work best for you for whatever, if you have like a sickness that you're trying to work through, like whether you're diabetic or you have and like anything that's going on, figuring out how it's going to work best for you. And I feel like I've had to do the same thing like with my stomach stuff, just making it a little bit different than other people. But that's okay, 'cause that's what's going to work best for my body.
Yeah, totally agree. The next topic that I want to discuss is keto and training as it relates to the older demographic. This year's Low Carb Cruise was definitely made up considerably of the older crowd. Last year, I feel like it was more of a mix, people of all different age range. This year, it was definitely more of an older demographic, which is great. It'd be kind of cool to see more newer people coming into the space. But as far as I think cruises in general are a lot of older demographic. Older people like cruises.
We would like to try and get like a younger demographic there. I think it could be really, really fun, and I think a lot of people can learn so much. But it's also nice to just like get away and be in your own little.
Yeah, let's take this opportunity to say, if you're wanting to do a low carb cruise and you're in the younger demographic, know that we want you there next year. So as far as it relates to the older demographics, that's what we're talking about here. There's a lot of questions regarding like, should they change their nutrition style specifically for their needs being older? Should they change their training style specific to their needs being older? And this kind of goes back to the whole bio-individuality thing, and there also being a 90% rule in which most things are going to work for most people. So with regard to older people, if they have not been training their whole life, they haven't been doing keto their whole life, they've been doing more of a carb-based approach, it's going to take a little bit longer for your body to adapt to keto because it's so set in its ways with regard to using carbohydrates as the primary fuel source. So your adaptation period may take a little bit longer. Same is true with regard to your training. If you haven't really been training and you want to start now, that's great. It's going to be great for your bone density, your ligaments, your joints, your tendons, all of your muscles. Obviously, it's going to be good for your metabolism. It's going to be good for lots of things, like training, and keto is the fountain of youth if you're wanting to make sure that the latter years are great years. But recognize that it's going to take a little bit longer for your body to truly adapt and adjust to those new stimuli. So give it the time it needs. I would also say that I think older people need ample protein to make sure they don't have any muscle loss, but then also higher fat ratio, because that's going to help with all the ligaments and joints and lubrication. So I would recommend that. Any points?
No, not really. We did talk about it a lot, like how to train for your body, it's bio-individuality again for training. So I think we just hit a lot of how to do it for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of older people that don't train at a gym, and they were confused as to how to incorporate a progressive overload to their muscles and give their muscles reasons to grow and develop. And I believe it was Nurse Cindy that pointed out, simply doing like pop squats and getting up and out of the chair multiple times. Like, she used to not be able to get up off the toilet because of her structure. Now she does these, what's she call them, pop squats or something like that?
Squat, yeah. Where
she like just sits down, stands up, sits down, stands up. She does 100 of those a day, and now she's like a freaking machine. She's like super high energy. I have trouble keeping up with her. Shout out to Nurse Cindy there. But you don't have to go to the gym and be like a hardcore bodybuilder to improve your bone density and muscular structure. Like, just stimulate the muscle.
We do often say that. Like, a lot of times, like, I'll post a workout and people are like, how do I do that? How am I supposed to do that? I'm like, just lighten the weight, or like, don't even do a weight. Like, if I'm doing squats with 200 pounds on my back, do an air squat with no weight on your back. Like, there's always a way of manipulating things to work with where you are. And I think it's harder for people to understand that if they haven't been doing it. So I think it's our job to kind of help people understand that there are ways of being able to do stuff, or do things, doing the same things just in a different manner.
Yes, 100%. The third and final point is kind of a bit more abstract, not relating to the lectures themselves, more so traveling and how to maintain your nutritional goals, your nutritional protocol and training while traveling. And I've posted on this twice on my Instagram. I've kind of been like, not ranting, but talking very strongly about this, because it becomes top of mind when I see people just let themselves go when they're out of their normal routine. Crystal and I are both very much so creatures of habit. We like having our structure. We like having our routine. We wake up at a certain time. We train at a certain time. We have our team meetings. We have everything structured and laid out. We have like a jillion alarms in our phone when we're supposed to do everything. So when we're traveling or out of our elements, we don't have the equipment that we normally do. It can throw us for a loop, but that doesn't mean we just stop doing what we need to be doing. There's always ways to manipulate things so that you can fit them in and move yourself one step closer. You may not be moving yourself 3 steps closer, but you don't have to sacrifice and move yourself 2 steps back. So, you want to talk about that? I've been talking a lot.
Like just training an inch or small gone?
Yeah, I mean, like, as it relates to the cruise specifically, like, this is not a low carb cruise in the sense that every meal is low carb.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of temptation out there.
Yeah, so this is a normal cruise. And there was, how many people were there?
In our group?
Yeah.
Like 150, I think.
So there's like 150-ish people that are there for the low carb cruise who are doing the normal cruise thing. We're eating all of the normal food that's there, the buffet that's set out for us. It's all, like, there's all the carbs in the world there. There's like, tables of desserts, tables of breads, tables of all the junk possible. But there are a lot of meat options. There's a lot of cheese options. There's eggs, and there's a ton of different options. You just have to choose the right one. If for me, I'm not even distracted by the carbs. Like I walk past the bread table because I'm uninterested in it. Like I know I'm not going to have it, so why even look at it? And I think that comes with just like being keto for a certain amount of time and just it not even bothering you anymore. But for those of you that it does bother, don't give yourself the option. Like there is no reason to have the carb option. There's a ton of really good keto options there. The food is not quality, and I could actually tell it in my body that I was not getting quality food. I think all of us had a little bit of inflammation going on because we generally do have like grass-fed meats and pasture-raised eggs and things like that. So the quality isn't going to be good, but do what you can with what you have. And I'd say like a cruise is probably the hardest vacation to stay on track because anywhere else that you are, you can go to the grocery store. You don't have to stop at fast food like a lot of people do. You can go to the grocery store, you can get something to grab and go, but when you're on a cruise ship, you only have the food that they have prepared for you. So we had no problem staying keto. Like we have no problem having a dessert. I even had whipped cream with some berries on top, and that's not my normal thing, but I knew it was a small enough portion. They actually ended up not putting the sweetener in the whipped cream for us, so the whipped cream was literally whipped cream with a small amount of berries on top. Things like that, there are ways around it, and they're usually willing to bend over backwards a little bit for you if they can, to make things good for you as an individual. So
yeah, and ask your server, ask the wait staff, what's in this ingredient, like what's in this dish. There was a couple items that I didn't know, so I just avoided them, and things that I felt confident were totally fine to eat, I ate. And one little trick with regard to cruise entrees, if you go to like the formal dining thing, you can order multiple entrees. It doesn't cost any extra. So I wouldn't be eating the corn, the potatoes, and like the vegetables and stuff on my plate. So my portion size of steak would be very small, but I would order like 3, sometimes 4 entrees and just have that meat portion. And as Crystal said, it's not likely going to be a grass-fed, grass-finished, pasture-raised, cut of beef, but it's still much better than the ice cream or the cookies that are available to you. So when you're traveling like that, like we let loose, we didn't track our macros, we just kept it keto. We kept it pretty strict keto. Like when I'm traveling, I tend to gravitate more towards carnivore keto just to remove more risk and chance of getting some hidden ingredients that I don't want. But like I said in that Instagram post I posted the other day, neither of us went up in weight the whole time we were there. As far as our training is concerned, there's a small gym in the ship, and we used that I think once or twice. But we also brought our resistance bands, and I used those, I think 3 or 4 of the days that we were there. I put Danny through a band workout, and those bands are like pretty brutal. Like, I liked it a lot for like a deload week. We made the whole week our deload. What are you smirking for?
I was just thinking about Danny going to a band workout, and Lauren did one with us, and she was like, those bands are intense. Like,
Yeah.
they're intense, and I used to downplay bands a lot, but when you're not used to it, it'll kill you.
Yeah, so we did that. There's normally like a little track on the top deck, so I ran that one day.
I must say, I did give myself way more off days than I deserved. I will say that. We did, I mean, there was a lot of days where we were like walking around and doing that kind of stuff. So, but I knew what I was doing, and I said, I'm not going to train today, or I will do this today, or I will do that today. But I didn't go and be like, oh, I'm just going to be lazy and do nothing. It was like, I'm making the choice that I'm going to take an extra rest day, or I'm going to,
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, you just have to be aware of what choices you're going to make. Like Mary, she was in the gym so much, but that's her goal. Like she has goals, and she's not going to give those up. And she's, I mean, like, I don't know, she's killing it. But
Yeah.
she's not like Robert. She's not a bodybuilder, but she has goals, and she's going to go to the gym and make it happen every day.
What you want to avoid is, at the end of your trip, looking back on it and regretting, not training, not eating correctly. You don't want to like go home and be like, man, I just wasted a week of my life, took myself 2 steps backwards. You don't want to do that. Like, I feel like we didn't train as hard as we normally do, but we gave ourselves a regimented, scheduled deload week. We still stimulated the muscles. We still stayed keto, and as a result, we're able to hit the ground running as soon as we return. So that's the ideal situation. And that's pretty much our tips. So, without further ado, we're going to get ready for the rest of the day. So, y'all have a good one. We'll see you soon. A lot of stuff going on this week. There's going to be a lot of pretty cool videos this week, I'm hoping. So stay tuned, because some big news is in the works. Talk to you later.